of Daniel and Justin on the ATV. There is something else I have to clear up about the ATV. The ATV has not been on this property in the last 5 years or so. Because my neighbor, which I'm not going to mention, is known for stealing property.
Uh-oh.
And that was one thing that I did not want him to take.
So here Janie is referring to Bradley Wong. See, this is her alluding to the fact that she thinks, and she wants you to think, that Bradley Wong is somehow associated with her claims of having her property broken into. Listen, there ain't nothing on that property that people want. Nobody's breaking into your place and stealing anything there, Janie. You live in the RV. People, if you're not aware, people want to think a little too far outside the box sometimes. It says right here in the initial paperwork how she represented her living situation. Janie McKenzie lives in the camper on the same property as the residents. So, for the record, we don't need to think that they're lying about that. It's funny enough in that sense. She was living in the goddamn RV. She lived in the RV. Is she still living in there? I don't know. But the fact is, here she wants us to believe that Bradley Wong, her neighbor, before actually this sound bite was coming in, she would never tell anybody, or nobody ever talked about the relevance of her neighbor. She just wanted to loosely refer and introduce people to what was slowly coming down the line, which was their reports identifying Daniel in his vehicle driving around and back and forth throughout that night, May 1st into May 2nd. Eyewitness DT, drunk turkey, that's an eyewitness.
And I also want to mention too, someone, I can't tell you who, has broken in, when Daniel and I were away, has broken in to our trailer and have taken a few things.
Wow. Somebody has broken in here and taken a few things. She's not interested in telling you the specifics about it. I don't believe it, Janie. I don't believe it at all. You're full of shit. That story is cockamamie, not representing it. You would have, if you were the victim of crime in that sense, and it was your neighbor, you would have no problem straight up telling everybody that your neighbor came in and stole your fucking brand new tires out of the back for your RV. Not alluded to this individual, and you're explaining the reasons for whatever behavior you had at the time in order to circumvent any sort of possible future ill thoughts from a particular neighbor. It makes no fucking sense, Janie. This is you looking to disparage poor Bradley Wong, and there's nothing that you can say or do that's going to do that. It doesn't matter how loud you yell. You're not going to change the fact of him identifying Daniel and his vehicles driving within earshot several times back and forth between the hours of midnight and 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. Oh! That blows the fucking story wide open. That's just another shot across the bow. Your story is fucking bullshit, guys. There's 2 missing children from your property, and all of your stories of the moments and minutes leading up to whatever happened to make you call 911 is fucking bullshit.
I'm not going to say what they are, but have taken a few things.
Oh yes, I don't want to say what those things are. Probably her dirty fucking underwear. What, was Bradley a pervert and he was horny for your bloomers? You had some dirty bloomers collections going on up there. He stole a few of my unmentionables. Retard. Durwood, get the fuck out of here, and you and your little fucking buddies. Your buddy Kent, get the fuck out of my chat. You're not welcome here. Insta-ban. You stick out like a sore thumb. You're not very good at this.
And
Fucking
this has all
tweaker.
been reported to the investigators. And yes, we still have drones that fly over that are over our place. It's usually Friday and Saturday nights, mostly. So if the people out there that are flying the drones, if you like to watch a 60-year-old woman on a Friday and Saturday night and have nothing better to do, you go ahead.
So you wouldn't think that the drones would be out there for any other reason but to stare at you, Janie? Why would that be? Heightened sense of paranoia for what reason? Makes no sense there, Nutty.
And I'd like to say something else. And for all the people that are driving by, taking pictures of my property and taking pictures to see that what we're doing in the yard, I'm going to let you guys know I am scared of being in my own place because I stick mostly to my RV and my back.
Are you fucking serious? Oh ho ho ho. Oh. No.
Yard because I never know that when
Baby
somebody's
talk.
going to blame us for what's going on, or blame me, I should say, I am scared to death that somebody's going to come along and do something to me while I'm in my yard. That's how.
Fuck, we could only hope. Michelle, thank you so much. That's so generous of you. $10 super sticker. Mwah. I appreciate that. Please, anybody out there, don't do anything to Janie while she's out in her yard. You guys should be embarrassed. You guys should feel bad for even thinking bad thoughts about Janie and everybody there. Could you imagine? Could you fucking imagine? Janie, it's not going to work. You could have remained silent, said nothing, said minimal, but you chose to go so far into this. You're really confident that you're going to get away with all of this, that you're not going to have or be held accountable in what happened to Jack and Lily. Well, you're definitely in it too deep now, Mrs. Obstruction of Justice. Accessory after the fact of whatever incident there was, plus the conspiracy. Just nobody is ever going to let you out of that prison. And that's why you're lying. That's why you're taking this Hail Mary attempt and deceiving the public about what really happened to Jack and Lily and what happened and why it really was that you were raking that driveway. You don't even have to be honest. We don't expect you to tell the truth, Janie. We could tell by what it is that you say regardless, because there's really only one thing that possibly could have happened. There's only one thing to lie about, isn't there? You guys have all of the reasons, all of the reasons are pointed back directly on Jack and Lily as though it was their fault for for walking out that door and never to be seen again, rather than any sort of emotion or heartbreak come out of that home. You know how tragic this situation would have been if it had been an accident with nobody in the home being culpable? They'd be acting completely different than what it is that we talk about on the daily. That's the truth. There's nothing about their stories that ring true. It's almost an invitation to the RCMP to say, you're going to have to do this the hard way. You're going to have to figure this out for yourselves without any help from us. And that's what they're doing. Not You Again says she's living at a crime scene of an unsolved crime. What does she expect? Would she ignore a crime like that if it was her neighbor? If it was her grandkids still live there? This is a violent crime against children, and they're going above and beyond and trying to not only get away with it in the law's eyes, but actively lie to everybody who's concerned about Jack and Lily and make money off of it. As though they were victimized by what? None of them ever want to really linguistically commit to anything. That's a real problem. Whatever happened to Jack and Lily happened within that home. There's the little kitty. Does Canada stream trials, Julia? No, but they stand outside them. And they have people inside them and they report on them. But they might. Actually, things have probably changed. I can't answer that completely. It's not like it is in the States. But the same, you can report on them in the exact same manner. Usually have a place for reporters in there. Janie's not here to lie to you people. Think about what it is that she came and said on this particular interview. She said nothing about Jack and Lily or any of the normal things or anything that would point to her not being any more of a suspect, even in her meager explanation as to why it was that she was crying like that, like it's actually a thing and not just a reason to manipulate your mind even further. She refers to something so vague in the reason that you can't make sense of it. She's really distancing herself in this scenario. Yeah, I think there is, Brian, there is a little gate or a makeshift gate. It's not much of a fence. It's a tweaker's fence. This is a tweaker project. This is just rearranging the garbage that you've thrown out on your fucking lawn. Let's get back to why it is, Janie, that you're living in that RV in the first place. Anita Bonita says, they're heartless because I have never met Jack and Lily and I tear up looking at their pictures, knowing what happened to them. Beautiful babies. What happened to them and what they're continuing to do, like, as though they're nothing. As though they're non-humans. It's indignant. Annie, probably because she realized her grandchildren wouldn't be coming over again. Oh yeah, I agree with you there. Not you again. Hummingbird feeder. Yeah, there's a hummingbird feeder, but it wasn't full of any of the nectar the sugar water that you fill. The red Kool-Aid. This here. There was not a gate on the fence at the time the kiddos went, Annie. Possibly. I can't remember. I have a picture in the back of it. Not that it would make much difference, because the fence wasn't finished. Who gives a shit about the gate when the fence wasn't even finished? I think that's the point people are trying to make. Like the way that Janie was explaining it in this, she goes on to say, now if the kids had gone through the gate, or she introduces the gate, but at the time of the reported disappearance, or the story that they want to portray, this piece of this piece of fence to the left of your screen that extends beyond the screen back towards the trailer wasn't finished. It was wide open. Therefore, there's no point in talking about the gate on a fence that isn't really a fence. Though there's no fucking finished fence for there to be a useful gate there. You wouldn't be using it in the first place. You would be going around it. Yeah, Captain Justice. He was talking on douchebags like the gate was there. Well, listen, the gate wasn't finished. That the gate or the fence, not the gate, but the fence wasn't even finished. The fence wasn't finished, so what's the point of even talking about the gate being used? That's a great point, actually, guys, you brought up. Daniel, you're such a fucking moron, dude. What a moron. Let me see if I can find a picture of this. It'll be from the first weekend of the drones, probably. Let's see. You are the dumbest motherfucker around. Let's see. Oh, fuck. It wasn't even finished right there. There's a big gaping hole right there, dude. So there's two ways you can see this. Let me pull this up for you. Now you can see the shadow. It's kind of tricky of an angle, though. Let me see. Let me flip this over. We'll search together. That doesn't look like an attached fence to me there, Sunshine. What if the kids were to walk through a gate? That's when Janie loves to spin that into the form of a question without actually saying anything. You're not communicating any sort of a point. That was fantastic. That one shows a big gape there, and down closer, back behind this stack of lumber to the left of the fence. It's not fenced. It's not lined with any sort of vertical board in that sense. It's wide open, gaping open. So really, whoops. It's funny that the story isn't. Nobody's brought up the possibility about somebody just walking in the back of the door and grabbing the kids and taking off with them. Why is it that you've got to put the blame back onto the kids as though they walked out and ran off, never to be seen again? The moral of all of this is that they have no answer. They have no answer for it, or else they would be stated publicly already. Therefore, we can fill that blank in for them realistically. And it's not going to be very nice. Yeah, high five, Brian. You deserve an award down in there. Good eye on that, by the way. There's so much to this case that you can't remember it all and all of the contradictions at one time. You've got to pick, have a handful that's your go-to and then go from there. Eventually they'll all fit themselves inside your head, but there's contradictions at every step and every turn here. because you're being lied to about the entire thing. Everything that you've come to learn about the case has been by the statements from the individuals who are responsible for whatever happened to Jack and Lily, sadly, at this point in time. So we also have to build this and what really happened with the things that we know in a similar manner to the RCMP. See if I can find a better shot. Whoop. Hold on there. Let's go it this way. Let me see here. Let's have a look here. What is this from? Oh, there's a good shot of it right down there. Hey, you fucking idiot. Hey, Daniel, you fuck nut. Take a look at this. Talking about the kids going through the fence. Janie, you're an idiot. Does that look like there's a gate or a finished fence to you? Hell to the nah. Brian, everybody thank Brian. Thank you for pointing this out to us, my friend.
How scared I am. Now.
Yeah, how scared she is of being caught. See, to her, these are partial truths. Janie's terrified of being caught. And of course, she's got to find the first person to lash out on, just like she did with Jack and Lily. Jack, Lily, and Malaya were the first person that she lashed out on when she was having a bad day, which is pretty much every day. If you're living in that piece of shit of a leaky roof RV in your fucking own driveway. Well, your tweaker son lies to you, and when the hell they're going to move out. Sweet Tea says she will lie for him always. She would hide a body and say, let's get our stories straight. What a POS. Yeah, and she's admitted to that, Sweet Tea, in this long conversation that we have.
All these here interviews that Daniel have done, I am scared for him too. I'm scared it will turn out to be like a porta pack. That's what I'm...
Oh yeah, don't worry there, Janie. Daniel's gonna get his, baby.
Scared of. I told the investigators this, and...
So does that mean that they're gonna put a rush on clearing your names? Looks like that's not working itself out. Looks like the RCMP haven't been able to clear your names, Janie. Captain Justice, good to see you. You'd like to know where the missing tarp is off the other side of that shanty, the tarpaulin? No doubt, maybe it was needed to wrap up a package at the last minute. Good eye.
They more or less can't do anything about it because they're on public property, or they're on public property. If they step foot on my property, then there's something I can do.
So really she's telling us she's sensitive about all of the attention that she's getting in the middle of nowhere. She can hear you coming from miles away just to slow down in front of her nasty ass trailer and take pictures because she's super paranoid. She's looking out to see if the goddamn SWAT team's coming to fucking arrest them at any point in time. Any of the questions that you ask them, it always comes back to them and their innocence and whatever it is that has happened that we haven't found out yet. That's a major problem. That's a real indicator of guilt.
Yes, I believe the kids are alive. And the reason why I believe the kids are...
The reason that you want to say that you think the kids are still alive is because you don't want to further the conversation about all of the possibilities and the reasons why you don't think that they're alive. That's all. You're a fool, an idiot, and we can all see it. There's no rational explanation as to why you think the kids are still alive. And it's a demonstration of your poor parenting and poor logic skills when your kids you want us to believe that your kids just disappeared, walked out, never to be found again, and you think that they're magically still alive out there. Well, how did they survive? Did you lend them your fucking credit card? They got their cell phone, they got their car, they got a change of clothes. How about an income? I don't think so, because they're 4 and 6. No. A rational person, a logical person, an innocent person in this would be saying, what now? No, I sadly don't believe that they're alive, unfortunately. But there's no possible way that you guys want to entertain those. Doesn't want to talk to anybody. Something else happened other than the story that Stupid and his mother continued to push online far after the fact. Something else happened. And we know that because Daniel gave himself away by talking about exactly contradicting the story that they gave by starting to tell people that, oh, that's not right. This isn't right. Otherwise altering the story and saying that the facts that they presented aren't facts and it's something different now. You've changed your story already. Why? You're contradicting your initial claims. Why? Lori Green, if Malaya got physically abused, no matter what, you don't let the person doing it to you do it to your children. When CAS visited, that was an option to get out, in your opinion. Well, people don't think about that when they have authorities come into their lives and knock on their door. Sometimes it's easier to lie to get them out of your life and move on because you're in a certain mindset. Malaya is not thinking in the right mindset. Partially because of the environment that she's chosen to be in. She's in like a dangerous cult. She needs to be deprogrammed from these fucking morons. Is that happening? No. She doesn't know in that sense. I'm talking about the moments leading up to it because she doesn't figure the worst thing is going to happen. She's accepted all of the rules and all of the things that her kids are doing that are bad to warrant all of this ill treatment towards her and her kids. She doesn't know any different. She's putting herself through it for whatever fucking reason now that she's tied to Daniel through Meadow. And she's the last person to really identify a true emotion inside. She's got her own issues. So it would have been it's so easy to think about what could have been the trigger factor in all of this. So Malaya was going to leave Daniel. Malaya just got her car. She has everything ready to go in that sense. And it's still an unresolved topic. And Daniel doesn't want that. And when he's really to the point where he's ready to let her go, it's the complete opposite. He no longer wants to shower her with all of these promises. He turns into even bigger of a fucking asshole and wants to hurry up the process. And he's not forthcoming. He's a liar, a manipulator, and he's lying and manipulated to her. So what is it she's supposed to believe? The safest and easiest thing for a person to do, like the path of least resistance in this circumstance, is to do nothing. And that's what she's very good at doing. So I hear. She'll call Cindy and Patty and complain to them on the phone, which would stoke the fires in that sense. But there comes a time, right? There comes a point in time, having been through it, where there's things change. They transition in your mental approach to things, that there's no use in reconciliation, and there's nothing that you can do to change the situation, yet you're somehow forced to go and face and look at this person all day, not to mention the children and all of the bullshit. It makes a person irate and angry when all of it's not in their control within a space that they would otherwise feel that's 100% or should be 100% in their control, being their own house. So then that's when it comes to affect Daniel about having to do all of these things on Malaya's behalf, because that's truly the way he feels, especially at the moment when the incident had happened. Here he has to go do something that's Malaya's job. She doesn't have any more use for me. She wants out of this relationship. And here I am still looking after these two random kids. What a fucking asshole. Just that much more reason to have something to hold against the person in the moment. Just a possibility. It's probably even worse than that. I'm just talking in the cycle and escalation of intrafamilial violence, they like to call it. Fancy word for domestic. Anyway.
Because I was waiting for Daniel to find his tools so he could help me put the top board up on the fence so I could put the boards up, because I couldn't hold one end and nail the other end. Anybody that knows that, anybody that does carpentry knows that that's impossible to do.
Well, you guys know nothing about carpentry, that's for sure. We can see that in your projects around the house. Now, what is that in my chat, Tammy? Or where did I see that? That's why Daniel kept her away from friends and family. Yeah, isolation. She could have asked her family for help. Instead, living like that, she did help them. She did ask them. He had her believing she couldn't leave and then she could get help, but his help. Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, there's definitely a cycle of abuse happening here. In a pattern of an abusive relationship. That's fairly common, right? Where a situation where, you recognize it to be such and everybody does, but they talk about it behind their back, and the person's now going to come out and tolerate it and go back to the person. Well, don't get mad when it happens again, right? But it escalates, and often it does, and that's what it seems to be like between Malaya and Daniel. Now, Daniel's problems all stem from the fact that he does the mathematics on a daily basis, admittedly. That's a major contributing factor to all of the weird pressures that she's under and these rules for his family, this backwoods fucking weirdo honky shit going on there. Trying to figure out the reasons or the rationale would be useless without taking into consideration that we know that Daniel admittedly was high as much as possible during the entirety of this relationship. That supersedes everything else. as a contributing factor, unfortunately. Until we know more information. Yeah, Tammy, it was mind games. He got away with it, and her and everyone around him, that's why he thinks he will get away with this. I get you. Well, he doesn't know any different. You're just seeing a continuation of the type of piece of shit that he is. Probably the same sort of treatment that Malaya had to go through with living with him. Exact same lies. It's just a continuation of the relationship, only now it's more public than it was previous to the incident. The it, the this, the that, the thing that they don't want to reference directly. The whatever happened to Jack and the Lily part that they dance around. Shannon's saying the kids didn't listen to her, only him made me sit up and take notice. Oh yeah, exactly. What an off thing for an individual to say in the moment, right? That was just another one for me, but it made me sit up as well. That wasn't the first one at that point. Yeah, that would make you sit up. Like, what a bizarre fucking misogynistic, unnecessary thing to say in public. Dude's tweaking. It tells you that he's really trying to act as though he is bonded to these children with some special relationship in the moment in order to draw sympathy from the public, especially the RCMP that he's working with. Because he has to account for why he's acting so often bizarre. Lying comes along with the abuse of the substance. He lies because he has to.
To get it balanced and hold one end up and the